Have you ever wondered what really makes a smart investment decision tick? Well, deep inside there's this hidden engine, and today we're going to take that engine apart piece by piece to see exactly how it works. We are talking about something called correlation.
You've heard this a million times, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's just one of those pieces of universal wisdom, pure common sense. But in the world of investing, this isn't just a folksy saying, it's actually a core strategy for survival and, well, for growth.
In finance, this simple idea gets a much more formal name: diversification. It's really just the professional way of saying you're spreading your bets. The whole idea is to combine different investments that hopefully won't all move in the same direction at the same time.
Okay, but how does spreading things out actually lower your risk? It's not magic, it's math. And the secret ingredient, the one number that makes it all happen, is called correlation. This single number is the absolute key to unlocking the real power of diversification.
So, what is correlation? Honestly, just think of it as a score that measures how two different investments move in relation to each other. And it's all measured on this simple little spectrum, just a line that runs from +1 all the way down to -1. So let's take a little journey down that line.
At the very, very top of the spectrum, we've got +1. This is perfect positive correlation, and it means that two assets move in perfect, synchronized lockstep. When one zigs, the other zigs by a proportional amount. When one zags, so does the other.
To really get this, imagine a team of 10 movie critics who, for some reason, always give every single movie the exact same review. Now, if you hear from one of them, do you really need to bother asking the other 9? Of course not, right? Their opinions are perfectly correlated. It's exactly the same in investing. If you combine two assets with a +1 correlation, you get zero diversification benefit. You've basically just bought the same thing twice.
And here's the crucial point. The second that number drops below a perfect +1, diversification begins to kick in. I mean, even at a correlation of 0.99, which is still super high, a tiny little benefit appears, and the further you get away from +1, the more powerful that benefit becomes.
All right, let's move to the middle of our spectrum, a correlation of 0. This means two assets are completely uncorrelated.
They're totally independent. You know, if one stock has a great day, the other one could have a great day, a bad day, or just a totally flat day. There is absolutely no connection. Knowing what one is doing gives you zero predictive power over the other. And this lack of interference, it's fantastic for reducing the overall choppiness, or what we call volatility, of your portfolio.
And now, for the holy grail of diversification, the very bottom of the spectrum, -1. Perfect negative correlation is basically the dream scenario for any investor.
It means two assets move in perfect opposition to each other, kind of like a financial seesaw. When one goes up, the other goes down by a proportional amount every single time. In the finance world, this is what we call a perfect hedge, and it gives you the maximum possible risk reduction you can get.
Okay, so the concept makes sense, right? But what does this actually look like in practice? Let's put some real numbers to it and see this diversification benefit quantified.
Let's imagine we build a super simple portfolio. We're going to split our money 50-50 between two stocks. We'll say stock A has a risk level of 3% and stock B is a little more volatile with a risk of about 8%. Now watch how that magic number, correlation, changes everything. At a perfect +1 correlation, our portfolio risk is 5.5%, which is just a simple weighted average, no surprise there. But when we drop that correlation down to 0, the risk doesn't just average out, it falls all the way to about 4.3%. And what if we find that perfect -1 hedge? Our portfolio risk absolutely plummets to just 2.5%. Get this, that's even lower than the risk of our safest individual stock.
And that right there perfectly illustrates the key takeaway. Portfolio risk isn't a straight line. It is not a simple average. The math of combining assets with low correlation gives you this incredible disproportionate benefit. The whole literally becomes less risky than the sum of its parts. That nonlinear curve is where all the power is.
It's this incredible power to just cancel out risk that makes a perfect hedge a trader's dream. I mean, in a world full of uncertainty, it is the closest thing you can get to a guarantee. Now, of course, finding two assets that move in perfect opposition all the time, that's incredibly rare. But it is the ideal that every diversified portfolio is striving for.
But, there's actually a deeper layer to all this. The standard way we've been measuring correlation is fantastic at spotting one specific kind of relationship, a straight line. This common method is called Pearson correlation. So what happens when two things clearly move together, but their relationship isn't a perfect line on a graph? Let's say every time one asset goes up, the other one also always goes up, but maybe by a much different amount each time. Standard correlation might not fully capture the strength of that relationship.
And this is where we need to introduce a second tool, Spearman correlation. So while standard Pearson correlation is asking, hey, do these data points fit neatly on a straight line, Spearman asks a more general question. It asks, when one asset goes up, does the other also tend to go up, regardless of by how much? It's measuring co-movement, not just a strict linear relationship.
And the way it does this is actually really elegant and simple. First, instead of looking at the actual dollar amounts or percentage returns, you just rank them from highest to lowest for each asset. Then you simply run a standard correlation on those ranks. By focusing on the order instead of the specific values, Spearman can spot relationships that Pearson might completely miss.
So let's wrap all this up. What are the big takeaways here? First, diversification isn't just about owning a lot of stuff. It's about owning things with a correlation less than +1. Second, the lower that correlation number goes, the more your overall risk just gets squashed. Third, and this is a big one, this forces us to think not just about individual assets, but about the powerful relationships between them. And finally, remember there are deeper ways to see those relationships, using tools like Spearman correlation to find connections that aren't just simple straight lines.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you understand this hidden engine of diversification, take a look at your own investments. Are you just collecting individual assets that you think are good? Or are you actively thinking about how they move together? Are you managing the relationships? Because that is where the real magic happens.